The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communications Station.
Come on, Chicago, make some noise. MAPC. You know whether I'm right. You know, Lord, whether I'm wrong. Yeah, you whether I'm right or wrong. Yeah, yeah. You know whether I'm right. You know, Lord. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Christians and friends. We thank and praise God for this, another glorious privilege to come into your homes while you're riding along in your automobiles, your various places of business, every hospital ward, even the girls and boys behind prison walls, to bring you Ramon Perry. And according to your faith, the gospel show, we're emanating live and direct through the studios of WVTC, where we are literally winning victory through Christ. We trust and pray that this time that we share tonight would give you strength to go forward in faith. Beloved, I've got the best of pastors on with me tonight. I'm not going to belabor the point, and I'm not going to belabor the time. Pastor Smith, I want you to come on. I got your sound. I was get your camera on. I just had you a few minutes ago, and I'm ready.
What's going on, my brother? How are you?
I'm blessed. We lost your we don't have the video here.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
What I do wrong?
I don't know. Let's see. Let me try this, and we're gonna bring you back.
No, let's see. Let me try this, and we're gonna bring you back. Because we had.
And I want everybody to go on mute. Because I'm getting an echo here.
Everybody to go on mute.
Yeah.
I'm getting an echo here. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You got me now?
Okay. No, I just got your sound, and I had your video.
I just got your sound, and I had your video.
Let's see what's going on here.
What's going on?
The enemy is trying it today. Pastor Smith, can you log off and come right back in if you would do that? And then maybe we can get because I want to make sure we get everything. I don't want to miss nothing. I see some of my friends out there. Sally Cole Butler. I see Chris Carr, Carol McKee, Adams. Look, I want everybody to share tonight. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great night. I see things are kicking off right now, and I'm excited about what God is doing. Let me see if we can get him back in here. There we go. We got you now. Pastor Smith, welcome to WVCC. I'm so glad to get you here. I know our time is limited tonight. We're going to get you back when we can share a little bit more time with you. But I want you to talk about something everybody that is living and breathing needs to know what is about to take place. And I want you to tell them about it.
Listen, family, I'm so excited. Cosmopolitan Church of Prayer, the Warriors, we will be doing our live recording tomorrow night here in Chicago, 5648 South State Street. Listen, the legacy is still continuing. We thank God for the spirit of our great founder, Dr. Charles G. Hayes, for we know spirit is not born, therefore it can never die. And the Lord has blessed us to getting ready to do a live recording tomorrow night here in the building. VIP seats, reserved seating is $50, and at the door, we're asking for a love gift of $30. Now, listen, we coming, we're going to have some good music. Diana singing, Glenn Ford is singing. We're mixing some of the old singers with the new ones. And actually, the title of the CD is Joshua. The Joshua Experience Still Standing. The Joshua Experience Still Standing. We're still standing. The Joshua Experience. Listen, I want you to be here. It's going to be a great project. If you cannot be here live, look for it. Look for it. It's going to be coming up, and I want you to download it and support us. We're excited.
Listen, Pastor Smith, I want to be one of the first internet radio stations to get that single and get it on here. I know they're going to be doing it on an AM station somewhere in this city, but I want to be the first internet.
I got you. I got you.
Premiere that single, Chicago. We are getting ready to get hit again. The Warriors are going to be singing as never before. I'm excited for them. I'm excited about it. Pastor Smith, can you tell us, just give a little tidbit of what we can expect tomorrow night at the church?
You're going to expect some church. Expect church music. We got some praise and worship in there, but expect a church experience. You know, a lot of times the church vibe, the church feel has kind of been diluted. We're still out here. We're singing good gospel music. We're a church choir. A church choir that's going to bring you good church music, gospel style.
Listen, I'm so excited. Can you share with us some of the, I know you mentioned Glenn, name some of the new singers that are part of the ministry, and some of the musicians and some of the writers. Just give us a little tidbit.
Crystal Williams, we got Leroy Patton, that's an older singer. We're featuring Angela Spivey's gonna be singing with us. Angela Spivey will be singing, and also Erica Thomas from Greater Harvest. She's gonna be singing with us. Listen, we got some great singers that's gonna be here. Antoine Taylor, a son of the church. He's co-producing. He's out here with it. He's got some good music. Damon Johnson, he's got some good music. And let me tell you something. Vincent Bohannon wrote us a hot number. Look for it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
This is an exciting moment for Chicago. Cosmopolitan has definitely led the way. I have said it, and I'm going to stand on it. Probably one of the longest church recording choirs that's still out there. Literally, they're still recording. I'm going to say that you'll probably have you guys have a large catalog that goes back before many of those that are on board now were even born.
Yes, sir.
And they stand on some great shoulders, and I'm really looking forward to what God is going to do tomorrow. Can you tell us something that that no one else knows about this recording that you can just share with our audience? Just a little something. I want to tease them. You know, Reverend used to tease them. Get these people out.
Well, something that wouldn't nobody know about. I told you already. Angela Spivey gonna be in.
Listen. Well, we already know when we walk in the door, the power was gonna hit us. Can you just give me one little minute? I want to go back just a little bit for those that remember where we come from. And I had to do that because I wanted the people to see you came out the choir.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you had no clue that this was going to be your destiny.
No clue.
I
was 19.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. Let me put that. Let's go back and tell the people about tomorrow night. I know you got to get back to the rehearsal, but let's go ahead and give them the information. God bless you, Walter Howard. I'm gonna put it up.
Cosmopolitan Church of Prayer, Joshua Experience, still standing. We'll be at 5648 South State Street, our sanctuary. Great time in the Lord. Be here. Be here. Reserve seating is $50. And to come into the sanctuary, we're asking for a love gift of only $30. We're going to have a great time. The Lord, be here. Be here. It's going to be a great time.
Listen, I'm not going to keep it. I know he's got to get back into the rehearsal. But Pastor Smith, we are
Yeah, they
saluting
call
you,
it.
Cosmopolitan Church. Right now, we're standing on your shoulder. I stand on those shoulders today. And thank you for your time. And you know what? My next guest, Pastor Bishop London from Detroit, is a church that Cosmopolitan Fellowship back in the day. This is the church the gate comes out of.
Yes, sir.
And so we're glad to have them come. But thank you, Pastor Smith.
Back in the day, Ramon, when I was at First Corinthians under Pastor Harvey Spivey, the voice of victory used to fellowship with Reverend London. I go all the way back there.
Isn't that a blessing? So we all connected. You know, it's just another room in the building. Isn't that what he was saying? Thank you, Pastor Smith. I love you, and I'll see you on tomorrow night. And we'll see you on tomorrow night.
Love you, man.
God bless. Listen, you heard it with Ramon Perry, according to your faith, right here, WVTC, where we are literally winning victory through Christ. I'm getting ready to go up down 94 right now. I'm going down 94 over there on Finkel. Bishop Lawrence London. Bishop London, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? God bless you. It's good to be with you tonight.
I am so glad to have you here. I go back such a ways with you. There's some people that are sending you some shout outs and love. Evangelist Cynthia Walton, she's down in Georgia. She just sent a shout out to you.
Cynthia, yeah.
My baby girl. And my baby girl, Gay. Yes, I know. Yeah, I met Cynthia.
Yeah. And you know, Elder Smith from Cosmopolitan. I remember him when he was a young man over there at Pastor Spivey's church, and you know, when I did revivals at Cosmopolitan for Father Hayes. I'm very proud of them and proud of him. I hope they have a wonderful time tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Bishop, I thank God. I'm going to say this, and I want you to talk about your tenure here. I think you come from Chicago and you went to Detroit, but our connection came in 1981 when I first stepped foot in the city of Detroit. And the first church that I ever went to was New Jerusalem Temple by way of the late Bishop James L. Anderson. You and I were connected. I was a young guy then by UECC, and that's when I met my family, my lifelong friends, Gay and Michael Lynch. Can you take us back to Chicago and then bring us on to Detroit? Tell us all about you.
Well, you know, in Chicago, you know, it was a different church. You know, I went to I was a member of B.T. Blumenberg, Greater White Stone, and then Pastor B.T. Smith at Christian Love Missionary Baptist Church. And at Christian Love, that's when we had all the musicals and would go to, you know, in Chicago, they had all the services at night from Bishop Anderson, Father Hayes, Milton Bronson. So we would run from broadcast to broadcast to broadcast. You know, I started preaching there and had preached for about 6 months before I was asked to come here to Detroit. Didn't know what I was doing. Got here 50 years ago and stumbled my way through, and I'm still trying to learn how to pastor. I haven't got it yet, but I'm trying. You know, the Lord has been good and faithful and placed me with some tolerant people who've been able to put up with me, you know, as I've tried to follow the guidance of the Spirit to help us to get to the place where God wants us to be.
Absolutely. Listen, I know Detroit is up in here thick tonight. I want everybody from Detroit, if you would just show us some hearts. If you've been through Detroit and lived there, Cynthia, I want you to throw up some hearts tonight. Evangelist Cynthia Walton, that's my god sister. And I remember hearing her sing there at New Jerusalem Temple. And we probably crossed paths because Bishop, my home church, was right down the street from Greater White Stone. So we fellowship. So I knew Kenny and May and Jerome.
Right.
And
those are my cousins.
Are you serious? Didn't know.
They're my first cousins. And I learned how got the little singing I did. I got it through them. We all sung the same choir. I directed the choir. Yeah, those are my cousins.
Amazing. So, what was when did you get into pastoring? Well, let's go before pastoring. God bless you, Michael Lynch. I love you, brother. When did you get your call into the ministry? How old were you? And I ask everyone that is called to the ministry, how did you know that you were called?
Yeah. Well, I knew because I was doing some of everything. I wasn't thinking about preaching. I got called. I was directing uh, for Christian Love. Matter of fact, that night that I was called, it was a Thursday night. We went to the One Arm Bandit at that time. They called him in Chicago. God, I can't remember his name right now, but his church was on Cicero and in Washington. And my pastor, Ramon Smith, was preaching there. I was sitting there waiting for us to get ready to sing, and the Lord just took me out in a coma. You know, I just felt like nothing was going on, nothing, no singing, nothing exciting. Fell out. They thought I was sick. Couldn't get me to. I could hear everything that was going on, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. They called the ambulance and was putting me on the little slab thing to put me in the truck when the Lord let me go. And I drove the bus for the church. And I eventually jumped off out the truck and ran across the street and got in the bus and was crying because the Lord was messing with me, you know. And I didn't really. I just didn't want to do it because I was a street person, you know. I had so much going on that I was enjoying. I just liked singing in the choir and
Right.
directing. And my pastor came across the street. He hadn't preached. He came outside after all that happened, and he came across the street, and I jumped off the back of the bus, and he was crying. I grabbed him, and he hugged me and told me that God had told him even what was going on, and told me that I needed to pray and surrender. I went home. I did that, and the Lord told me what I had to do, and man, that changed my life right there. No one believed it because of the type of life I was living. You know, I was working under the police to stay out of jail during that period. And, I had about 5 women that I was dealing with every day, different women, and I was doing good as far as I thought. So I had to expedite all of that, you know. And before it was really something. I was so afraid of the Lord because nothing like that had ever happened to me.
Right.
You know, I was frightened to make sure. I was so scared that I did everything I knew I was supposed to do. I didn't cuss. I didn't do nothing for a long time because I thought God would kill me. You know, because that happened just like that. It happened just like that. I really got called. I don't know about nobody else, but I know I was called because that's the way it happened to me, and that's how I was called into the ministry.
So let me ask you this, Bishop. So how did the opportunity come for you to leave Chicago and go to Detroit? And what was the biggest thing you noticed that was different from Chicago or Detroit? I think there's so much alike in so many ways, especially when it comes to church. It's a Midwest kind of thing, but I'll let you share that.
Well, to me, it was a big difference. You know, first of all, I came here. I hadn't been preaching but 6 months before I came here and pastored. Because it was something I had not planned to do. My pastor said to me here, I never thought about pastoring. I wasn't ready for that. He sent me and it ended up happening. It just happened like that. I had no intentions. So when I came here, I knew nothing about what I was doing. came here and had a first meeting I had at the church. I had an argument, ended up being a fight with one of the deacons in the church, and the word got out that I jumped on the deacon, and this hoodlum came from Chicago and kicked the deacon out.
We already have a bad reputation.
But yeah, I didn't have many friends as far as preachers or anything, but we end up having a broadcast that was a blessing to the church as soon as we got here, and we were blessed with TV ministries, a TV ministry, one of the best at the time, and through those broadcasts and the TV ministry that we had, it was a blessing to the church. I thought church was totally different here because we churched all night in Chicago.
Right.
We had morning, afternoon, evening service, and after the evening service, we went to broadcasts until 12 o'clock at night. But it wasn't like that here. The church ended early. To me, we had choirs that went from church to church in Chicago for each other's musicals. We fellowship like that. They didn't do that here, so that was the big difference to me. And since I was really involved in music at the time, it was just the fellowship wasn't the same.
Bishop Gage
just saying good church, great preaching, of course, but the fellowship wasn't the same.
Bishop Gage just says she just learned something about you, and Evangelist Walton said that the broadcast was powerful back in the day. I remember it.
It was. With Cynthia, Cynthia in her voice, and Gay, Gay was tomboyish. She played. She was more involved in playing basketball than singing. But when she sang, she was bad, and directed the choir. We had one of the best choirs at that time. I mean, we could stand with anybody.
Absolutely, and I remember hearing them when I came back in the 80s. So I have to thank. I bless the spirit of the late Bishop James L. Anderson because of him, I've had some lifelong relationships, and you have a lot to be proud of because Michael, Cynthia, and Gay and I have had relationship as family probably since that time. So you know how long ago that is. They're just like family to me. So I have to thank you for that experience and being a part of that. Gay said Bishop is telling her business. But I really wanted you to come because I felt like you had so much to share. So now you're pastoring, and you guys did a recording. I have it here in my home. What is it? 1 in a Million?
Yeah, we did 1 in a Million. We did a few, and then I did something with the Ridgeway sisters.
Right.
Whitfield that was the bomb, and just never really. It was before its time. James Cleveland. Let me say this: Chris Ware. Because if it wasn't for Chris Ware. I don't know if do you remember Chris Ware?
I do. I remember him very well.
Chris Ware and Michael and
Kenny.
Kenny, Troy, that group that Chris surrounded me with, and also involved with me with James Cleveland, the Gospel Music Workshop. It really did something to bless New Jerusalem Church because James Cleveland became a great friend and would come and do revivals for us. And so our church was so active, and we had so many young people. And in that day, it was tremendous. And that's how the recordings and the various things we were able to do at that time. I was writing songs and stuff, so I was really involved in music. More so than preaching, at that time, I tried to really put them together. Right now, I don't do that no more. I'm I'm just preaching, doing the best I can on my way out.
Bishop, I think you're still on your way in. Listen, can I, if you allow me, let me just play a little bit. I found a clip of you preaching, and I want to share just a little bit of with everybody. God bless you, Elder Roosevelt there in Detroit from Greater Emmanuel Temple of Deliverance, my friend and prophet Eric Mitchell. Here you go.
Y'all with me? I want you need to understand. At the tabernacle and the temple were two definite different places. Tabernacle, a tent, temporary. Temple was a structure, permanent. But in the meantime, we dwelt in the tabernacle and worshiped there. We are temporarily in this, somebody say, in this tabernacle.
Bishop, I had to play just a little bit of you preaching. Definitely a relevant pastor of this time. Let me ask you something, Bishop, if you expound on this a little bit. What do you think God was saying in this season to the community of faith with this pandemic? I believe he was speaking and saying something to us. And I want to see what you feel like God was trying to share with us through this experience.
Well, I think God is still speaking. The pandemic is not over. It's just a different phase. God, it's been so many different things that has happened. Pandemic was something that shut down the world, we could say, for a little while, to inconvenience us and supposedly to hopefully make us appreciate one another, appreciate what we had,
right,
what we could do, and to open our eyes. But I don't believe, I know God is too intelligent, to play, if you don't do this, I'm going to do that with us. God, we are people that should learn through lessons. And I just feel that this was just another lesson that it's just like going to school. You go from grade to grade. You some folk fail, some folk pass, some folk slower than others. And I think that in this life that we live, that this lesson of the pandemic or that grade period that we were going through during that period is one that, again, some fail, some pass, and some are slow because we haven't changed. Nothing has changed. And this is just my feeling, because the word is established that the end is already nigh, and the wars and the rumors of wars, the pestilence and earthquakes and all these things that are going on, the Bible speaks of. So this, I don't think that it's not a new message. It's the same thing. And we're still not learning from it. We're still not learning from it. We're still acting, we're getting worse, because the pandemic, some churches still haven't opened back up because it's more convenient to do what we're doing now. So I can do this at home rather than to do it at church. I can save gas and I don't have to, some churches, some pastors preaching from home and having service taped, and so they don't have to be at church on Sundays. So is that what the pandemic did? And if it did, is that what God was teaching? So you learn, you learn as you go, and some people take advantage of every situation. So some folk took advantage of the pandemic.
Right.
It's like some people mess around and was stealing money, taking advantage of money, receiving money during that period. Technology end up winning out during that period because now people don't want to come to church anymore. So God, I don't blame that on God. I see God should see us again using crutches, for everything God either bless us with or things that happen to us that should teach us a lesson, we
Absolutely.
find a way to take advantage of.
Absolutely. Bishop, I wanted to bring someone on that is definitely you're familiar with, and I want you to say hello to this gentleman.
Hey, Dad. Hey, my spiritual father.
Hey, Mike, God bless you. Son, God bless you. Because you are on here.
Thanks,
God bless
Ramon.
you, sir.
Absolutely. You have a lot people that you've affected, Bishop, and so many have gone out and done other great things, but they still stand on your shoulders. And Michael speaks so highly of you, and I wanted him to come on and just maybe say something encouraging to you tonight as well.
Well, let me just say this. I'm very proud of him and things that he's doing, the way that he the doors that he's opened for so many people, and I'm just proud that the Lord put him in my way.
Thank you. Thank you. Bishop, in 1973 or 4, I had never heard anybody preach like he did. And I said, if they bring him on to be the pastor, I'm joining. And I did that. And ever since then, I have been fed anything the bulk of all that I know and how I was able to do my teachings and how I've met some of the biggest names in entertainment, politics, and all came because Bishop allowed me, as I say, practice and perfected it. And I thank him for it. I really love you. Happy
Oh,
50th.
all right. Well, I want to thank
Thank you. I appreciate you, son.
God bless you, Mike. We'll be talking in a minute. There was one more I wanted to get on to just to kind of throw something at you, Bishop, and just give you a word of encouragement. But again, let me ask you: can you share with us the service times of New Jerusalem? Give us the address and what time you can be seen if you stream. Just share that information with our listening audience today for those in the Detroit area.
New Jerusalem Temple is located at 17330 Finkel in Detroit, Michigan, right on the corner of Finkel and Oakfield. They do have my name up on the sign up for the street, Bishop L.J. Lawrence J. London Street. And we have our services. Our Sunday school convenes at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. Our services began at 10 o'clock. We have a 12 o'clock Bible class in which my son, Lawrence Jr., is in charge. And then we have what I call a pew perspective at 6:30, where we have Geraldine Watkins, who deals with the message of whoever preaches on the press the Sunday prior, where the pew breaks down that sermon and talk about what they got from it. We stream every Sunday. We stream our Bible classes and we stream our church services. We have great Sunday school teachers. We have a great youth department. Got a great group of people, and we would invite anyone in the city of Detroit and anyone that's listening that comes through the city of Detroit. You please come and you're welcome to come and join with us in fellowship. We'd love to have you.
God bless you, Bishop. And right before we go, I'm coming back to Chicago in just a minute. I'm coming down Wabash in just a minute. Before we do that, there's one more that stand on your shoulders. I want you to, I know you recognize this face here. Say hello, my sister.
Hey, Ramon, to the best bishop in the whole wide world. My bishop, my pastor, Bishop L.J. London Sr. Ramon, first of all, let me say thank you for even letting me be a part of the party. And I want to say to my bishop, he knows beyond a shadow of a doubt, wherever I go across this length and breadth of this country, I make no bones about it, that I am a product of NJT. And I am so proud that he is my pastor and my bishop. Wow, words can't even express, Bishop. I have done so many things because you took a chance on me. I had no idea that over 25 years ago, when I became a member in NJT, I had no idea what that journey was going to look like. I mean, Ramon, I wanted to work in the audio area because that's what I enjoy doing. And he asked me, but told me and yanked me out of that space. I didn't want to move from that space. I was comfortable there. But I thank God for having a visionary leader that saw what I could not see. And even after 20 years of pastoring myself, Bishop, I got to tell you, there were so many lessons that I learned from you, from watching you in meetings, traveling across the country, going to the ministers' conference in Virginia. And even after pastoring, that I started taking some of my parishioners with me and sharing what you had exposed to me. I mean, even right down to the crab legs in Virginia Beach. I am so thankful. And then even allowing me to share and building a great aggregation of young people who are now adults and parents themselves. Bishop, if none come back to ever say thank you, I want you to know that I appreciate your work, your labor, what you're still giving, your way just over and beyond. I'm done because I could go on and on. I will say this. I believe in my leader. I support my leader. And if my leader say make a left at the corner, a left is what we're going to make. I love you, Bishop.
I love you too, Bishop. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ramon. God bless you, man, for doing this.
Absolutely. I want to make it special for you tonight, Bishop. We go back a ways, and it was good to have you here. Will you promise to come back? Can I get you both back sometime later on in the year?
Absolutely. Will. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you. You heard it here with Ramon Perry. God bless you, Bishop London, and God bless you, Dr. Scott, with Ramon Perry. And According to Your Faith, the Gospel Show right here in the city of Chicago. We're streaming through ALSIP. We left Detroit and we are coming down 94 all the way down to Wabash. Listen, everybody, stop what you're doing. I need you to like and share this live tonight. I've got another giant in the ministry right here with me, Dr. Robert C. Jones, pastor of Mount Carmel Baptist Church here in Chicago, right off of 29th and Wabash. Say hello to everybody, Pastor.
Hello, Brother Ramon, and hello to everyone that is watching and listening to us on tonight.
Hey, listen, I'm so glad. I'm proud to have you share with me tonight. Another great minister, a giant in the gospel. I've done my little homework on you, Bishop, to see. I'm saying Bishop because I've had so many bishops on.
That's all right. That's all
Dr.
right.
Jones. I've had so many great, and I said, I need to get you on here. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you're a native of, and how you ended up in ministry?
Well, well, thank you, first of all. And I just want to say that I am a native of East St. Louis, Illinois. Some people know that as East Boogie, but I am a proud citizen from that area originally. And I am thankful that the Lord has blessed me to accept my call in the ministry in 1967. I was 9 years old when the Lord drafted me into this ministry.
Drafted.
I've been thankful ever since. There's nothing I can do about it but like it and love it. And so that's what I have done. During that particular time, I would say that after receiving my calling into the ministry in 1967, I thought I was running, but the Lord was really waiting on me. And so in 1975 is when I yielded to him. And after I yielded to him, I preached my first sermon in 1975. And as God would have it, I would end up being elected to the first church I would ever pastor in 1978. And so, and I've spent a great deal of time in the East St. Louis and Centerville area when the Lord had, from the time that I began my pastoral ministry, he told me that he wanted me in Chicago. I had no idea. I knew nothing about Chicago other than my family members who lived in Cabrini Green. I had aunts and uncles that lived there, and that's all I knew about Chicago. I knew nothing about a west side or a south side or none of that. Okay. But the Lord had put it on my heart, and he kept that weight on me all of my ministerial life until I could yield no longer. And I came to Chicago, and as God would have it, in his divine providence, I would become the pastor of the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church, where I've been for the last now 14 years.
So, Dr. Jones, I ask this to every minister. How did you know you were called to preach the gospel?
Well, that's a great question. Because first of all, I knew my mother had a relationship with the Lord, and she made absolutely sure that I had a relationship with him. And I know that when the Lord approached me, I knew it was him beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay. When he brought me into this gospel ministry, even at the age of 9 years old, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was him, and the experiences that I've had have shown me that it was a true and right decision.
Absolutely. So you come from, you said East St. Louis, right?
Yes, yes.
What was the biggest difference, or if there was any, that you saw in the way the church operated in that area than you did when you came to Chicago? Or were there any differences, or pretty much the same?
Well, and listen, how can I say this? It was pretty much the same. Those folk that knew the Lord would serve him in spirit and in truth, and had a desire to learn and had a desire to grow. And that's been my experience everywhere I have been. There have been people that had a desire to grow and a desire to learn and a desire to worship. And as it relates to that. But now I'll say this, and you could probably speak to this or kind of understand this. There's no, and I'm sorry, but I just got to say it, but there's no singing in worship like singing in worship in Chicago. Okay. I don't think it can be compared to anyone. I know it's the Spirit of God, as those who God uses like yourself, and then those voices that he has anointed that have committed themselves to do what they do here. And I've experienced that. I've heard some great singing. I've heard some outstanding singing, but I'm here to tell you that of all the great singing and good singing that I have heard in my experience, there's been none like those that have committed themselves here in Chicago.
Wow, that was something right there to say, and I have to concur. Let me ask you this. So this is one of those questions that I don't ask every pastor, but I will ask you this. How do you deal with losing members when the Lord called them home? Because I don't know how you all do it when it happens, and you have to, these are some people that you have prayed over and fellowship with, and then you speak over them when the Lord calls them home. How do you get your mind wrapped around that idea that you have to do that and it's going to happen until?
Well, I tell you, as you ask the question of that, like that, it becomes important for us to understand that you never get used to it. It never becomes new. I can remember when there was a statement that I used to give as a minister in my ministry. I would get up before every homegoing service, and I would say these words: every funeral that you attend is a dress rehearsal of your own. I said that. And then one day, my dad's mother, my grandmother, passed, and I was in charge of that homegoing service. And that was the first time I'd ever been in a position to say those exact same words. And this time it affected me directly. This was before my mom, this was before my dad, this was before a number of individuals that were close to me had passed, as well as those individuals that are part of my church families, of which I've had been blessed to pastor. But I'm here to tell you, as a pastor, you never get past that. You overcome it. There's a sense that you are enabled to endure and move on, move along. I won't even say move on, because it takes a piece of you, and it never becomes routine.
I couldn't imagine that it would. It's like working in the hospital and and seeing this. But on the other end, can you tell us one of the most memorable moments you had in pastoring that you will never ever forget?
Let's see, one of the most memorable moments of pastoring that I will never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I guess I have to go all the way back to 1978, when a church in prayer took a chance on electing a 20-year-old to pastor the church. And that was one of the most moving moments that I'd ever experienced, because I learned a lot of valuable lessons from that, and that I knew where I were in my relationship with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there were individuals that were old enough to be my mother, my father, that were old enough to be my older brother, older sister, but yet and still, they would invest in me, and they were confident in my relationship with God to lead them spiritually.
Right.
And that was very moving for me.
That has to be very moving. I didn't say this to Bishop London, but I want to see if I can just come out of left field with you on this one. What are your thoughts on so many pastors that are walking away from the church? You hear about so many church closings and pastors that many of them are committing suicide. I know that everybody sees this, but they don't know what really goes on behind the scenes, and how you have to counsel people that have problems that you can never speak on. And you're visiting the sick, and you're your husband, you're a father, you're a pastor. What do you say to someone that's ready to give up this pastoring? What is your take on what we're seeing in those in ministry?
Well, yeah, and again, another great question. One of the things that I learned in my pastor, my first pastor after I became a pastor of a church, was a brother by the name of Albert Crockett, and he told me these words. He says, "Son, every pastor needs a pastor." Okay, and someone that they can talk to, someone that they can relate to, someone they can open up to. And I think that one of the unfortunate realities is that we become so parochial in our relationships, and we become so centered in on what we're doing, that some of our pastors have the unfortunate happening of turning in and relying on themselves and not opening up, and even to someone that they can mention their weaknesses or their fears.
Right.
And it becomes important for us to understand it, because we have this facade. Everyone's looking to us for hope. And so
right.
We don't come across very well if we stand up there saying, y'all, I'm scared. Oh, yeah, y'all pray for me. I'm really scared. We've got to have hope to give our people hope. But the reality is there are times when we are afraid. There are times when we are weak. There are times when we do need someone. And I think that it becomes important for us to really let down our guards and reach out to other pastors that can help us, that we can open up to. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're having so much of this happening amongst our clergy.
Absolutely. It's just it's very chilling. And maybe it was happening before social media and we just didn't get the attention, but we hear about this. And I'm like, I heard another pastor say that they're not even opposed to themselves seeing a therapist sometime, because you all carry so much weight. I'm just telling you, y'all can quote me on this. If I thought I heard God call me pastoring, I would cover both of my ears and run toward the lake and jump in. Because
I want to tell you that as soon as you landed into water, that the Lord will pick you up out of that water, set you on the side of the bank, and say to you, "You still gonna preach because I called you." You can't get away that easily. And believe me, if I could have got away that easily, I'd have got away a long time ago. Okay, but we don't have no control on that, brother. We can about my son, my oldest boy. He's pastoring now. He's been pastoring for 15 years now, and I never will forget when he received his call into the ministry. He didn't tell me, but what happened was right out of high school, he joined the military, and when he joined the military, he picked the furthest site that he could go. He went to South Korea. He had picked a site. Here's a young man that hadn't been outside of Missouri, okay, which was a neighboring state of Illinois. Okay, but he wanted to go, and we were wondering, like, what's going on? Why you want to get so far away? And so as soon as he landed, he called me crying on the phone, and he said, Daddy, let me tell you something. I said, what? He said, as soon as I got off the plane, the Lord said to me, I'm here too. Okay, and so it becomes important for us to understand that. Okay, so I hear you saying running, but you can run, but you can't hide.
You can't hide.
God has a place for you, and that's good. But should he decide to change that place, I'm confident that you won't be able to get away from it.
He's here too. Listen, we're going to talk about Mount Carmel, but I want to see if we can get just a little bit of you ministering. Let's see.
The words of the song used to say, Lord, if you find anything that shouldn't be, take it out. If you find. Listen now, we're bringing ourselves before God in prayer for strength, for guidance, and for correction. Third thing is this, only four. So you see I'm helping you. Lent is a time of personal sacrifice that leads to spiritual growth. You see, brothers and sisters, listen to this. The question should be, what do I need to give up? What personal sacrifices do I need to make in order to grow spiritually?
Yeah.
You see, Romans 12:1 says these words, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is what? Your reasonable service.
I just wanted the people to hear a little bit of you ministering. If you want to hear that whole message, you go back on Mount Carmel stream from last Sunday, and you will hear Dr. Jones saying just those words and more. Let's talk about Mount Carmel. I know I got some. I was trying to get Bird on here to surprise you, but we were having some technical difficulties, and I was trying to get someone else from. So it's something going on with the internet right now. But let's talk about Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel. Okay. Tell us about the service times and the location and how we can be viewed. Let's talk about Mount Carmel.
Sure, I'm happy to. Mount Carmel is located at 2978 South Wabash Avenue. Actually, it's 2976-78 South Wabash Avenue here in the great city of Chicago. The area code 60616. Now, we have our church school, and we stream all of our services. And our church school, we have a combined church school class that is live online, and that's at 9:30 every Sunday morning. Our worship is at 11 a.m., and we stream that as well. I want you to know that on Wednesdays at 11 a.m., and that's Central Daylight Time, we have our Bible study, and every Wednesday. And so those are things that we are doing at the church as it relates to the things that we have within our worship. We have outstanding opening of worship with our deacons, and then our praise team, and then our choirs, and then the preaching is all right too, okay? And we look forward to that. And I always like to say to those that are listening in, we're not your grandmother's Baptist church, but we're not your nephew's non-denominational church either, okay? We want to say that we are just as traditional as we are progressive, and we have a mixture of that. Our music, as you well know, Brother Ramon, is eclectic, and we're thanking God for all of that at every level.
Absolutely. And again, can you repeat that address one more time, Pastor?
2978 South Wabash Avenue.
you want to meet us there on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. Now, come on and get there early, get you a parking space, and come over where the table is spread and the feast of the Lord is going on. Pastor, you're a family man. Tell us about your family.
Well, I'm thankful. I have my wife, Creola Jones, sister, who's in the building, and she's online too as we yet speak. We have 4 children. We have 2 girls and 2 boys. Our oldest is Jamie, and then after that we have Robert III, who's a pastor in the East St. Louis area, and then we have the boss, who is Tanya, and then we have the baby boy, the youngest, who's taller than I am, Roosevelt.
And you know, another thing, Pastor, I wanted to mention, Mount Carmel is unique and blessed to have their pastor emeritus still share in worship. Let's talk about Dr. Felker.
Yeah, man, no problem whatsoever. Dr. Felker is a jewel. He's an individual who's been blessed prior to my arrival and his retirement to pastor Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church for 51 years. He's done a number of things that we are blessed to continue to experience even today, with the help and the support of a congregation that supported him as he pastored during those times. But what I really love about him is, and we've shared this on many occasions, he could write a book about transition, because if there's ever a person who is right side by side with me as it relates to support and relates to the ministry of presence and his words, it is Dr. Felker. And he is truly a jewel. He and Sister Shirley Felker are truly jewels that we continue to love to have with us continuously.
Amen. That is awesome to be able to say that, and that he definitely still shares with us right there on the front row, involved and participating in the service, and we feel his presence even when he isn't there, and we thank God for him. Listen, Dr. Jones, I really appreciate you coming on. It's a special night for me to have you on. Mount Carmel is up in here thick. I want you all to go in the comments and I want you to comment and share this to your page. And we want to send out all the love we can to all the members of Mount Carmel, those that support the church. And we look forward to seeing you. I want to thank you again. We get ready to leave the airways. I'm going to be back on next Thursday, the Lord willing. I want to thank everybody that shared and helped with me tonight. All of my staff behind the scenes you don't see: Shelly, Denny, Roosevelt, Dennis, and Sylvia, those that support me, James Williams. Every week there's some of you here that support me week after week and help me share and spread the good news. I see you, First Lady Jones. God bless you. Thank you for sharing with us right there by his side. And I'm just honored to have you again. I'm getting ready to go, and I love you guys, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I want you all to meet me again here next Thursday at 7 p.m. with Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, the Gospel Show. WVTC Stellar Award winning. Don't forget, meet us over at Cosmopolitan Church tomorrow night for that live recording session. And those that are in the Detroit area, feel free to go and visit our church there, New Jerusalem Temple, Bishop James London. If you are in Chicago, you need to come on down to Mount Carmel. We're going to give you that address again because somebody needs to hear it in the back. God bless you, Dave Martin. Tell us again, Pastor.
God bless you. We thank God for each and every one of you. Feel free to come visit us on Sundays at 2978 South Wabash in Chicago.
God bless you. God keep you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Love you, Brother Raymond. Take care.
The following program contains views that are not those of W.
As we fast, we need to take a look at some things. Now, perhaps we need to fast from jealousy along with our Pepsi. Where you at, boy? Perhaps we need to fast from envy along with our red meat. Perhaps we need to fast from slander.
Views views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ. WVTC Allsip Chicago. And